We finally have an arrest in the DC pipe bomber case. It took years. This goes all the way back to 2021. These were the pipe bombs placed near the Capitol just before the Trump riots of January 6th. They've arrested a suspect. That's good news. It is 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr., who I guess would have been 25 or 26 at the time of the incident. Now, that is great news, but I want to show you a statement that Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino made about the arrest on the Sean Hannity Fox News show just hours ago. Now, understand that for years, Bongino and others made a lot of money spreading all sorts of unsubstantiated conspiracy theories about the pipe bombing, including suggesting that it was particular individuals, who I won't name, suggesting that it's an inside job, and all sorts of other unproven stuff. Hannity actually asks Bongino about this, and Bongino essentially says, I was paid for provocative opinions back then. That's why I said the things I said about the pipe bomber. Now I'm the deputy director of the FBI. Now it's different. My interpretation, this is me editorializing, I used to make things up for money, but now I have a different sort of job. All right, let's listen to Bongino.
You know, I don't know if you remember this. This is before you became the deputy FBI director. You put a post on X right after this happened. And you said there's a massive cover up because the person that planted those pipe bombs, they don't want you to know who it is because it's either a connected anti-Trump insider or an inside job. You said that, you know, long before you were even thought of as deputy FBI director.
Yeah, that's why I said to you, this investigation's just begun. We are pretty comfortable. We have our guy. I think as, again, legal process starts to surface and information, facts start to come out, the public's going to be very comfortable with the investigation that was conducted under Director Patel and his leadership. He's been great on this. But I don't want to, you know, listen, I was paid in the past, Sean, for my opinions. That's clear. And one day I'll be back in that space. But that's not what I'm paid for now. I'm paid to be your deputy director, and we base investigations on facts. And, you know, it was interesting. I was looking out in the crowd today at the press.
I guess he's saying his show wasn't based on facts, which we knew.
And I saw a couple of media figures who you and I both know who promoted the other scandal, the collusion hoax. And I thought to myself, you know, the difference between us and them is, you know, we evolve. As information and new inputs come out, we can produce different outputs because that's what we believe in. We believe in facts and investigations guided by facts. There were people out there in that crowd, I'm sure still believe in this collusion fairy tale hoax. So we'll see. We're going to be guided by the facts as this thing goes forward.
Yeah. Now the facts matter. Now that he's deputy FBI director, the facts are really important. So this is a major difference between some content creators and others. There's no other way to say it. I will never do this crap, okay? I hope that you consider this trait when you think about what shows to watch and what podcasts to listen to, because you are wasting your time and wasting your life listening to people who aren't even telling you what they really believe. You know, if I believe something that's factually wrong, and then I get information to that end, I will come to you right away and I will attempt to correct it. But I am never going to tell you that I share, that I have an opinion that is not one I really have for clicks or to generate interest. It would be easy and profitable and maybe even fun to take positions that I don't believe for attention, the way Dan Bongino is admitting that he does. And I believe many of these right-wingers and some left-wingers do. I'll give you an example. There are people getting a ton of mileage from there will be no 2028 election. Trump will never leave. Trump's running for a third term. Trump will be president until 2040. And there are people who play that up. I don't know if they believe it. I don't, but I could pretend to, right? I could turn this show into rage bait drama farming about Trump's never going to leave. And I assure you, those clips would do well. It would get a lot of attention. It would get me interviewed places. David, tell us why do you believe Trump will never leave? I don't do that. I always tell you what I genuinely think. And I don't think Trump's going to serve a third term. I don't think he's going to try to, even if, you know, there are people around him who think that it's a good idea. Now, as far as Bongino and the pipe bomber, we've got to be crystal clear about what Bongino is admitting here. He was selling doubt, chaos, and conspiracies for profit. Now he needs to deal in fact. He wasn't giving opinions on policy. He was spreading baseless, unsubstantiated theories about an act of arguably domestic terrorism right before the January 6th riots. And now that the reality is here, we've got an arrest. He's deputy FBI director, which he has no business being. He tries to wave it away by saying, I used to be paid for my opinions. That's not exculpatory. That's damning. And it's not even, I don't operate in journalism, right? I do analysis and commentary. Bongino was not a journalist. He was doing analysis and commentary, but that's not even commentary. It's intellectual dishonesty to manufacture outrage, gin up your base, and he gives up the game. Folks who do that should be punished. They really don't deserve an audience, and it is corrosive to this country. And he's admitting not only that it's what he was doing, but that someday he's going to go back to it when this half-baked, harebrained deputy FBI directorship finally comes to a merciful end. If you are scrambling for a meaningful last-minute holiday gift and running out of real ideas, Aura Frames can save you. Our sponsor, Aura, makes high-quality digital photo frames that showcase your favorite pictures and videos in a way that looks like a real print. I've given these to so many different people. I gave one to my dad, preloaded with family photos. He still walks by it and comments on pictures he hasn't seen in years. It's a gift that lands, and Aura makes it really easy. You can preload the pictures before it even ships. You can add a personal message, and then you can keep adding photos and videos all year long. It's free. It's unlimited. The setup takes just a few minutes, and every frame arrives in a premium gift box. There is still plenty of time to get an Aura frame shipped before Christmas, and you'll get $35 off their best-selling Carver mat frames when you go to auraframes.com and use the code Pakman at checkout. The link is in the description.